Okay. So my name is Kirsten Larson. I'm with Fullmoon Digital, and we just wanted to get in touch with some people that we consider to be influencers or influential, and get your take on the world we're living in today and what's happening in business, and how to cope with it and go forward and bring some positivity to the situation. So, I hope you're doing well right now with everything, and staying healthy and happy. And can you just introduce yourself and give me a little bit background about who you are and your company and where you come from?
Sure. First, thanks for asking. Things are doing as well as they can be. I'm Thomas Bosilevac, and I'm the founder of MashMetrics. We are an agency specializing and exclusive in dealing with the definition, implementation, analysis, and reporting of digital data, if you will. And I've been doing this specifically, or had my own business for the last 3 years, but I've been working in the industry for about 15. Few years before that, just kind of grinding it, helping produce websites and the whole, design and development and that whole bit. But yeah, there's a little bit about me, and I'm sure you'll get on with the questions.
Yeah, so you clearly already have a little bit of a background being remote, and now everyone's joining the club. How's it, being remote already? I know that's a big change for a lot of people, but has anything changed for you and your company specifically during this whole COVID-19 situation?
Sure. So yeah, a little history on that. I will say that I have actually worked remote probably more than I've actually worked in an office, through, a myriad of positions from, just as a general, independent contractor, where the office might be within the same city, to complete international, contract and time position remotely. So, it's a shift now, watching the rest of the world kind of come into come into, I guess, my little world, right?
Yeah.
I'm always trying to fight for video and try to fight for more interaction when there's a room of 4 others that are all kind of chatting amongst themselves, and my face is the Polycom on their desk. So now we're, it's kind of the other side where everyone's just kind of getting used to the video and whatnot, and almost kind of self-conscious about that, when all along they've been staring at each other in person, and that's been okay. And I'm conscious about being the voice on the phone. So so I'm glad to see the Zoom stock rise. That's for sure. It's a lot of people have undertaken that, and all the other tools. It's certainly an adjustment. Both, and I want to say, not just from a remote working standpoint, but I want to say specifically from a remote management standpoint. And really 2 completely different challenges when, I'm working as a capacity of just working on a project remotely versus trying to manage, my team of 4 others, trying to manage the culture, trying to manage the company, trying to manage, the bad times, everything, when this is all we've ever had. With the video, I've actually only met one of my team members in person. So yeah, that's kind of, quickly in general how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, that is interesting that you bring that up. I actually haven't met most of my team in person, any of my team in person either. But it feels like we know each other very well. But you mentioned managing a team remotely, and I think there are a lot of leaders that are now going to be forced into that situation, and they've been able to be face to face, or they may even prefer it. What do you say to those people that might be like struggling or trying to take steps into being a good leader in this new remote situation?
First, take a deep breath. It'll be okay. You know, it's much different. You know, you've always kind of been able to rely upon your peers being right there to ask that quick question. And you know they're there. They're sitting right in front of you. Or you haven't really thought twice about, you know, just collaborating on a quick project or going into the quiet room or just all of those things. Or even...
Can I stop you for just a second?
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is part of remote work. I don't know if I'm going to leave this in this video or not, but my son is tapping on my shoulder right now, and I told him, I said, please don't interrupt.
No, literally, you can see very well.
Come on in, buddy. Come on in. I'd say we put him in on this.
I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Do you mind being famous
too? Remote life. This is really remote life. So they're all home. Hey, can you let me finish my video though?
Okay, I guess so.
Okay, thank you. You can go back to the movie.
I can't see.
Apologies.
Oh man, do not apologize for family. I will say, so here's another thing. I have met, and this is actually very touching to me, I have met more of my team and clients' kids, spouses, dogs, pets,
right,
everything. And I've always kind of brought just, you know, life to business because I'm a geek like that, and you know, I just like that. And it's good to see that just happen naturally now. And what are you gonna do? You know, I mean, they're all, you know, they're now working remote now too, right? Yes. I mean, we are all literally working remotely. So hope you don't mind being famous, dude.
I know you're about to be famous.
I can't even see.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, I mean, I was
apparently.
It's
because it's like water, a whole bunch, like something sprayed in my eyes, kind of like that.
Okay, go get a napkin and rub them. Okay.
Man, and I never would have dreamed about going to school in my pajamas, right?
I know, living life in the PJs. Really cool dinosaur PJs there.
They're actually dragons.
Okay, they're dragons.
But you know, as someone that really has part of our culture at MashMetrics is, you know, I hire really passionate people that, quite honestly, it's almost unfair because they work overtime because they're passionate about what they do and they're learning new things, or, you know, learning about BigQuery or something like that. But I'm starting to understand why, because it's starting to bring in the family and just how they are and what their work life is like. And it's just kind of cool. It's kind of humane, I guess you could say. It's pretty awesome.
I want to stay on the couch.
Okay, he just wants to watch.
It'll be good for the views. It'll be good for the views, trust me.
Oh, good.
Like if a little cute puppy comes in on the other side. So.
I'm just, oh gosh.
Well, it's not fair though. We've introduced ourselves, but you haven't introduced yours. So if you're gonna be in the film, you gotta introduce yourself.
You're just gonna push yourself right in there.
Hi, my name is Caleb.
Hi, Caleb.
Hi.
And what do you do for Fullmoon Digital?
You're in first grade, huh?
Yeah.
Assistant? Assistant?
Assistant. He's my assistant, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Might have to be working on that productivity as an assistant a bit, but, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
I mean, this is real remote, and I mean, I was on a call with somebody else, and I heard their kid right now. I mean, this is also quarantine remote, but and their child was on the phone, you know, saying, you know, all this cute stuff, and I'm like, it was adorable, and we can all relate right now, especially if we have, you know, families and other responsibilities and everything. So
Well, it's, and I feel that has always been one of the fears, right, of working remote is kind of almost on both sides, honestly, as again, like as a manager and as a perfectionist, right? And, being in the client services world, you want that video to go on seamlessly, right? Because
I
you
know.
already are like, I'm not there. So, you go over and beyond. And if there's even a shadow in the distance, or, I'll even say it, heaven forbid, your lovely child comes into the picture. We're like, oh my, oh my. Well, guess what, world? This is our world. This is how we live. And I think since we've all been smacked into this, I think it kind of, it's kind of a big weight off of our shoulders now, right? It's like, okay, I was on the phone with the CMO of a, pretty large organization, and his kid comes running by, and it was,
Yeah.
it's so like you would never. 3 weeks ago, I would have never thought that his child would be running by in a meeting that I had like planned for a week, right? To go perfectly.
Exactly.
So
I'm not going to let anything go wrong here.
yeah. So I think maybe to that end, maybe we should start readjusting what wrong is.
Yeah,
this is just fine as long as we're working.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Something that I think a lot of people can relate to right now. So, with that being said, has anything changed for you being on like quarantine?
Definitely more personally than work side, I would say.
Right.
I mean, we definitely had that luxury of we were remote before. We're literally all in different countries, so we're remote as remote gets. The work adjustment has been more adjusting to others, adjusting to working remotely.
Yeah.
But, personally, it's the same as everyone. It was literally a 3-hour ordeal because I needed to get flour and eggs. And by the time, an hour later when I got in the grocery store, obviously, I got a little bit more and put a little bit back because then I found myself, okay, I'm playing into the game.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
on the other hand, there's no one on the streets. And it's just, I can't help but think it's kind of peaceful, and that is likely insensitive, and I apologize, but it luckily has not hit me personally yet, and that's going to be the hard part. So that's going to be the hard part.
Yeah.
Right now it's still I'm in isolation and quarantine and working remote land, but I think eventually this is going to start touching families, and that's going to be where it kind of changes from a different work environment to just a different time. So
yes,
got deep there. Ooh.
It did, and I was gonna. The next thing I was gonna ask you is there anything that you are nervous about, like with the COVID or professionally, either way?
Yeah, I hope we keep taking it as seriously as we have been. That's what I worry that we let our guard down. It's gonna probably show signs of stability. That doesn't mean that that's gonna be that it's over. And already we hear about, the beaches were still full and this and that, and it's like, I just hope we keep doing this for a while, probably longer than maybe we think we need to. And then the second is afterwards, we really remember it, right? Yeah. I mean, there's some deep stuff to remember about this, some deep, deep stuff. And I hope we remember that.
Okay. Okay. You made your star debut.
Yeah, he's like, this is a lot more than I thought.
This is time. Yeah. So,
Mommy, are you a psychologist or what are you doing?
All right. So Um, a lot of companies have had to make even bigger adjustments than to even just take everything remote and have had to start like laying people off. Do you have any words of hope or advice to people who have been laid off during this season?
Oh, and yeah, no, yes, no.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take it from the cold, hard capitalist point of view first. I'm an entrepreneur, and I thank my lucky stars that I am in an industry that, for the most part, is going to stay in business. We're affected, but we're staying in business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about those entrepreneurs, the business owners of restaurants, of service industry that has to shut down. They have no choice. There's no, and when you think about just your bottom line and the dollars and cents, and that becomes a fact, just a pure fact that was not there 3 weeks ago. It's a fact that in order to save everyone's job, you have to now, you can call it furlough, lay off, terminate, whatever it might be, is speechless. I think we all see a light at the end of this, you know, and we see restaurants trying to do takeout and delivery. And, you know, like always, we see people trying to survive and get through the best, but there is certainly carnage in the way. You know, my advice is really, I guess, take this opportunity to do all of those things that life never let us before. You know, spend time with our family. From the very positive, from the very negative, catch up on a Netflix series. You know, but seriously, we live a really rushed life. I think that's kind of dinging on all of us. And I guess maybe we just need to slow down. But honestly, I really have no advice. This isn't, I mean, you did everything right, right? I mean, as a business owner, you're doing everything right, and this is what's happening. So, gosh, I don't know. That's going to be, you can clip this out maybe, but I don't. I really don't. That's the sad part about this is the carnage it's leaving behind for good, just solid businesses that will, again, likely pick up and thrive. But what do you do? What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's honest and it's hard. It's a unprecedented time, so
I know
do it.
Qdoba is sponsoring it, but it's for everybody. They're trying to do a Takeout Tuesday. So go take out, call your local restaurant or your, you know, local whatever and take out.
Yeah, invest in your community. No, that's a really good one. So do you think that this remote life is going to transfer over? Because you said that you really like being remote at this point, you know? And do you think this is going to transfer over into afterwards? Maybe it's going to be so efficient.
So here's, we'll get back into that remote management part. I think it's going to be all up to that. I heard today what I was waiting for, and that was our boss just asked us to have Zoom on all day so that they could watch to make sure we're working.
To have what?
Zoom on
okay.
all day so that they could make sure that they're working. And so here's my answer to your question. The longer this goes on, the more I think remote world will survive.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a short 3-week ordeal, what needs to happen is that management needs to go away. All those people that basically managed by basically their own ordeal, and they tap you on the shoulder when they wanted something done, or they would call a meeting for everyone to show up because they hadn't read emails and everything. That mentality of why remote work is not, you know, is not successful, that needs to change. and then I think remote work will be acceptable. But it is those kinds of those managers now that, and luckily Derek's not one. It's those managers that have never been for remote work and that would never have allowed it before, and that no matter what have to just see that person there, because for them they've defined that as success or work. What's going to happen is successful companies, the ones that have been doing this for a while, that have defined success in successful KPI ways, not this person works 40 hours a week, but this person gets our projects done that I have planned out and things are going well. They're going to thrive, and they're going to be like, this worked really well. This even worked better. This is awesome. Woohoo! Let's do this 3 days a week. I don't think they're just going to be like, okay, no more office anymore. But, certainly going to open up that possibility. But the bad managers need to leave. I've thought this for a while, that companies are not anti-remote, managers are anti-remote, I think. And
Same.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's tough. I've got to plan ahead. I've got to plan ahead of, how I'm going to, speak to my team and what projects need to happen and what time we're going to do things and all that stuff. It's tough, but it's worth it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And, it comes from a place of fear that people are afraid that maybe someone's not working or whatever. So you just have to hire the people that you can truly trust.
Yeah.
So, are there ways that our companies and ourselves can give back to the communities in this time of need? And if so, like, what would be your favorite?
Yeah, I think if there's ever a better time to shop locally, right?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee, if you start picking up the phone, leave a voice message, business owners will call you back. If you say, hey, I'm looking for XYZ, but you're closed, they'll figure out a way to make that sale right now. So, don't let that hold you back, for your just general stores, right? Just general retail stores that you would normally do things. I like the whole, takeout from your local restaurants, the ones that you like. They're certainly hurting for business, but most of them are open for takeout and or, delivery. And, I'd say takeout. Take it as a chance to get in your car and still be isolated, but drive somewhere, take out. That's not medical advice, by the way, so who knows. But yeah, again, not medical advice. I think isolation certainly means, let's decrease the amount of people that we get close to and all that kind of thing. But I'm not so sure it means don't leave our apartments or homes or places, right? Like we got to go for a jog or, whatnot. Take those opportunities to then, get some takeout. But yeah, call upon those local businesses. I mean, really, like, if you know of a business owner or entrepreneur or anybody, call them up if if you need anything done. They're available. You ever needed your air conditioning fixed? Now's a great time to probably do that.
Those fun projects that we've been holding off on, it's a good time to dive in. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have a mask, put on just 7 layers around your mouth, go to Home Depot and get started.
Is Home Depot essential? I don't know. Maybe.
Is it?
So
yes. No, it's not. It's not.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Well, speaking of which, do you have a passion project that you're working on right now?
My business.
Okay.
that is my passion project, I have to say. I've not had the time to kind of pick up from a give back kind of situation, if that's what you meant, from a passion project for this ordeal.
Or even around the house project. I don't know.
Oh, No, again, like, so that's the thing. Like, this hasn't really rocked my world from like what I do on like a day-to-day kind of like planning process.
Yeah.
My fiance, she works for Sharp Healthcare, and they can't really work from home very well. So,
Mhm.
you know, we're all still kind of like marching along. So no
Makes sense.
no extra passion projects right now, except for keeping my employees employed.
Okay, all right. Um, so do you have a suggestion on a way to stay connected while social distancing?
Yeah, these virtual happy hours, as corny as they may sound, um, what's the alternative, right? I say we do it. Board games, good stock to buy right now. A lot of people are buying board games and like playing those around, and like Cards Against Humanity and those kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's funny. We think that we're really close, right, with our cell phones and all of that. And, maybe this is when we really find that out, and like really having real conversations where we have to talk, because, our virtual happy hours, and that's it. It's just the five of us talking or whatever it might be. And
Yeah.
I encourage that. I know I've been reaching out to like my friends and just jamming on the phone, just more.
Yeah.
It's that's the only comforting thing that we can have.
No, that makes sense. I've been hearing about the virtual happy hours, and I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have a Wii. I'm old school, so I
okay.
have a Nintendo Wii. So I've even been getting activity. If you can find one, good purchase right now.
I was looking, I'm not gonna lie. I was looking on Amazon. I went and I looked, and they're all sold out. I
I
think
bet.
everyone had that same idea, so
Yeah. Yep.
I'll keep looking. Um, so there's so many different conversations going on. It's people are scared. Some people are making jokes, and it's really like a fine line to walk to stay somewhat sensitive, but also to be enjoying our lives the best we can while going through all of this. I want to know your thoughts on company messaging and how to keep some sensitivity through company messaging during this time, because it may be different than how you may throw messaging out other times.
I wish that I could provide the reference to this, but just through one of my scrolls on LinkedIn, I read someone was like, this is when a mission statement really comes out.
Oh, that's a good
And if your mission statement was about money, you're in deep trouble. Because I think, if your marketing has always been, sell, 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 then yeah, that's probably pretty difficult corporate messaging right now. But if you were one to really be one with your customers and want to communicate with your customers and understand what their challenges were, so you could figure out what the solutions were and doing all that, then my Lord, you've got a really easy in to just send them an email. One of the best emails I got. Hey, bud, you guys doing okay over there?
Yeah.
Sure, he might have sent like 40 of those, kind of, but he sent 40 of those, right? Like, and he wasn't, that's just fine. I replied, and I'm like, thanks for asking, blah, blah, blah. And that's the kind of corporate messaging that I think we need right now, is be there for your customer,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going to be hard to close this quarter. It's going to be hard to close. We're about, 6 days away now from when the quarter ends. I'm pretty sure that there's probably a little bit of humility from sales managers around the nation. But, I think the best close right now is your, corporate communications is communicating with your customer. I think, going to kind of some of the hotspot industries, I think it is going to be, as if it weren't already, marketing automation is going to be massive. We're going to have to hit our customers in very personalized messages after this, because right now it may be very like one-to-one or one-to-few, but you've got to scale that, because then it's going to be even more people's expectation. But I think that's the way to do it. Rethink our customers. Rethink your customers, what they're thinking right now, how you think you can help. And if you can't, right? Like, I mean, not everybody probably, is in the right position right now. Restaurant equipment sales, that's a tough one. But prepare for your future, because obviously we're going to come out of this. And then think of that for your customers. They're going to be reopened. How can you help? What kind of tutorials? Were there things that your customers were always so busy that they could never get to, that you always wish they kind of did? Start communicating about those things. Now's a good time for spring cleaning and those kinds of things. But I mean, it's not that it wasn't before, but I think messaging has to be benefit to the customer. Right? Customer benefit. It's tough to close right now. I'll just say that. It's tough to close, but build those relationships. Kind of like a social media ad, right? We don't necessarily write them to close and make sure that they buy on that session. It's to build that engagement, build that, awareness, do that stuff, and, you'll be fine.
That makes a lot of sense, and it is a big time for building relationships, which is pretty ironic for social distancing has been huge for building relationships, which is a really interesting silver lining, I guess you could say. So for the people that are watching us and who stuck it out through the kid coming and leaving and everything, how can people continue the conversation with you? Where can they go to find you to have more deep discussions or relationships?
Sure, yeah, and please do. I mean, I've got some experience in this whole remote thing, and I certainly encourage from the management standpoint. It's I understand the challenge, having had a 10-person team at Merriam Agency where we were all there physically in the office, to now kind of having it remotely. There's some pros and cons. I'd love to discuss those more in depth. You can reach me at thomas@mashmetrics.com. If you want to be marketed to, you can go to mashmetrics.com, the website too. But now's certainly a great time to look at your data. I'm sure you already are from that perspective. But
yeah, no, that makes sense. And just to close this out, if there's anything that you'd like to add, and also, is there an inspiring message that you want to share with everyone watching right now?
I think the silver lining is certainly a lot thicker as this goes on, and not to be insensitive to those that are suffering and will be suffering. That's going to get bigger and bigger.
Right.
We are, it sounds so cliche because I don't think anyone else knows what to say. We're truly in unprecedented times.
Mm-hmm.
We say that kind of thing when we go through violence or war, but those things have happened. We've kind of sometimes gone through, or at least seen those things. No one knows what's coming in at the end of this. The fear of losing your home, well, they're talking about no one's losing their home. That fear of, or the reality that you lost their job, well, they are, luckily, there might be programs out of this, but I have to hope that there's some God-given greatness at the end of this, if we can all persevere. And I think we're already seeing it, quite frankly. It's not much when I look out my window right now, but when you go through social media and when you go through just there is a lot of that spending more time with family and slowing down and appreciating those things that maybe we didn't before. And I'm seeing just a lot more of that than a lot of fear so much, I think. But so I hope that continues. And
Yeah,
that's all
that is
we can
good.
do is think positive.
Yeah, I think let's hope people are coming together more than just kind of getting anxious and nervous. But we'll see more and more as this goes on. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah. Well, thank you for chatting today, and thank you for your patience and being flexible with me because
Absolutely.
I really didn't
Get
expect.
used to it, folks. Get used to it.
I'll see this more and more. But yeah, I'd love to just close out, and anyone can go reach out to you directly. So it was great speaking to you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Cheers, everyone.
Okay, bye.